This video is about the denial in society in regards to organized crime and what it means to morally transcend, what it really means to be a decent person. Complicity doesn't allow for human decency. And also for permit. Okay, what they permit in regards to sexual immorality, specifically rape. And first, let me remind you that I'm targeted. I have over 17 witnesses to me being targeted. I've been making videos on YouTube for over 10 years, okay, since 2009. I have a 4-year, $4,000, $1,100,000 top martial arts challenge that I eventually won, and that earned me the right to call myself the top martial artist, to actually be the top martial artist, when you also consider that my family is where martial arts comes from. It's a long story. See my key reasons why I'm the top martial artist playlist. So the 10,000 sources, valid sources, over 10,000 miles. So this is one of them. Okay, I'm gonna couple the facts with my own observations, and then only give you the facts that I know to be true. Organized crime actually does exist. Okay, there's a criminal social order in society, and they commit crimes against humanity. I don't go by the legal definition of criminal so much, but actually what are crimes against humanity. Okay, reinforcing a system that operates with coerced sex, illusion and trickery-based sex. Okay, rape, trick sex. Basically immoral things, horrible things. So at the top level, I will put the old money, white-collar criminal class. These are white-collar criminals and their super rich cronies who have generational blood money, and they kind of supply their cronies with trickle-down generational blood money. There's also, and they're part of the neo-colonialist global class at its core. They are the core devils, if you will. Then we have the corrupt politician and wealthy criminal role. Some of these corrupt politicians are from very powerful crime families like the Bushes. Some of them are just regular corrupt politicians. So some of these corrupt politicians are above the criminals, and some of these criminals are above these corrupt politicians. This particular wealthy criminal row that isn't per se the old money row. Okay. Then there is the FBI. There's the intelligence community, right? The CIA, the FBI, F-bi, bisexual, right? They're trying to control sexual behavior. CIA, a little bit more conservative leaning from what I gather. Key A, right, is kind of the brute who is void of the true spirit of God. It's a secular nation. You should be able to figure that out. And of course, they're notorious for their corrupt activities. Okay, there's also the sort of underboss row. These guys are the kind of go-to man between the super wealthy boss and the kind of the structure of the criminals that you're more likely to come face to face with on a daily basis. Okay. So then we have the local cops. Okay, they're all corrupt. The system's corrupt. You're enforcing corrupt law. They're all corrupt. It's just a spectrum of corruption, and they try to play on the contrast. Good cop, bad cop. In reality, they're both bad cops. Think about it. The social clubs. Okay, the social clubs operate like the motor, I believe it's called, the stuff where the masons use the trowels because it represents the motors holding the bricks together from the foundation, found alpha shun, all the way to the top of the criminal structure. They're the glue, they're the cement, they're sealing it together. They're sealing your fate, the moral and the trowel. Okay? Try well. Okay? T-ray well. Okay, so I can go on and on about that. The T is the feminine suffix, Ray is the gender neutral, kind of on the way to the earth, Gaia, gay IA kind of idea that's superimposed on the idea of Ra, the marshalling force of the sun, that the warrior tribes who followed the Falcons, who unified the land in Egypt, were really following. And then eventually, when they rose to power, they forced one way or another, there's two scenarios here. One, they forced the people at Heliopolis to tell the truth about the true nature of God. The other is they already saw it that way, and by the 4th dynasty or so, the pharaohs called themselves sons of Ra, but they're also illegitimate pharaohs. Long story. Let's just keep this moving. Okay. So when we look at this thing, it's eugenic breeding. The social clubs and the eugenic breeding that sort of soothes this thing over, they keep society in a criminal state where people commit crimes against humanity. And ironically, part of what they argued they were doing was addressing licentiousness when they are the most sexually immoral scum of all, and breeding sexual immoral cultures, right, behind the scenes and openly and otherwise. Porno, these are the porno kingpins and so on and so forth. Okay, they also were played about criminality when they're committing these crimes against humanity. Their foundation is based on the worst crime against humanity, denying the wisest and the best the rightful place. That's why it's called Foundation Found Alpha Shun. Okay, so basically, there's a bunch of empty vessel attractive females. The rule in society, the unspoken rule, is no woman of spiritual worth, okay, is allowed to exist, especially not if she is attractive. That is the rule. It's also the rule with the martial arts. That's why I'm being screened out and drugged. No martial artist of spiritual worth is allowed to exist. After I'm gone, they'll bring in the New World Order. This goes back to 1619, the slave date, and 2019 this year. Okay, but that is the plan at this point. They get this guy gone by 2019. Okay, and if it is a little bit later, so what? It's a superficial date they came up with anyway. Moving on. So when you look at the female, because we have the passionate hero who tries to save these females. This is part of the game. It's a sick game. It's like the cartoons with a damsel in distress. She's tied to a chair. There's a ticking time bomb. There are time constraints, okay? And the female is an empty vessel. She's made to look much like a female that needs to be saved, but she doesn't. She's evil. She's decided in her heart that she's going to be evil. And listen very carefully. The only way to save her is to use moral reason to get her to obey. The reason why she's an empty vessel is because of her breeding, right? She's from a long line of evil scum who have taken attractive, stupid females. They bred together with all due respect. And this created the modern attractive woman. Okay. So you need to train her. You need to get her to do the right thing. She's become like a dog. Okay. Think about Jesus and the Canaanite woman. She's become like a dog in this Phoenician phoenix bird sex cult. Think about the Phoenix program, that rape program during the Vietnam War, where they would rape people, anyone they wanted, and just label them a political dissident. You know, it's very much like how the surveillance state works today, and why people are targeted. They're targeted for being attractive. They're targeted for being good. They're targeted for any reason these weirdos feel like. All right. So she needs to be made to obey. Okay, there's no time for anything else, not like anything else would save her anyway. And unless a true martial artist comes and shows her and conveys to her the true spirit of God. And obviously they're giving me drugs to relax my muscles, so it's hard for you to see that. So they make white guys and Jews and Asians especially feel like they're more manly than I am and any token minority coward that rolls with them. All right. So they need to be trained. Okay, not run a train on in this kind of rape. Basically, when Western society or any society that's allowed to exist on this planet trains you, it's for the purpose of sexual immorality. They're grooming you to be some coward's bitch. Okay, period. So he realizes he's reaching out to them to no avail. They don't have true moral, potent moral, focused moral intensity as the point of reference, moral reason. Okay, so therefore, it's to no avail, the alpha veil. They've covered her eyes and she can't see straightly. And they did first and foremost by how she's been bred. She's been bred to not be able to identify the superior man, to not be attracted to him. She's been bred to sit there, and try to get provided for, or to be empowered, quote unquote, which is really provided for by corporate America and elevated as a prostitute. That is part of the game. And their inability to admit to themselves, so that's what's going on, is key. So quite often you'll see these people come out angry about it. They don't want to admit it to themselves that they're a whore, that they've whored themselves to corporate America so they can wear high heels and stick their nose up at people and drive nice cars. They don't want to admit that to themselves. And that's part of why the A veil. It's a feminist veil, it's a conservative veil, it's a liberal veil, it's a libertarian. It's all these Western cultures that are allowed to exist in the West, for example, that are covering up the truth. The foundation is the alpha shun. Not the rich, white, offspring of a colonist who's like, hi guys, not the truck driving brute. The true martial art alpha. Think about it. Not the token minority, like, well, I know how you feel. No, the true martial art alpha. Not the guy who's trained by the Asian martial artists who have a certain relationship with corporate American bankers who funded their martial arts schools. No, the true martial art alpha. No philosophy that is popular or that is allowed to exist is a philosophy that allows you to truly morally transcend. The reason why the devil is the god of this world has to do with trade routes and trade route corporations. It goes back before, but really in corporation as a term goes back to about 500, I believe, AD it was, or maybe BC. It was one of those things. I think it was AD under Justinian in Rome. Okay, corporation, corporation, alpha shun. Okay? Martial art alpha, moral toughness, moral precision, moral courage. Okay? Rich people show an appalling lack of moral courage. That's why Jesus said what he said in Matthew 19. I have no time to go over that. But it basically said the rich guys pretty much aren't going to heaven because they don't have the moral courage to get rid of their ill-gotten gains and obey the Lord. They're too cocky. Well, I'm rich. Do what I say. Do what I say. Here's some money. They're too used to being bitches and serving the God of this world. Anyway, so the empty vessel, attractive females. Okay, the passionate hero tries to save them. The unattractive female refuses to obey and wants to pray. If she's going to pretend that she's going to listen to you and obey, it's only so she can prey on you, is a general rule of thumb. Obey and convey the true spirit of righteousness, not denying the top martial artist's rightful place. I'm the last one. Versus pray. Them preying on you. That's why you pray in church instead of organized to face injustice, because they're preying on you, sexually and otherwise, and quite often they plug little kids right there in church. And think about what else they do. You think sexual immorality in the church is limited to little kids getting fucked in the ass? You're an idiot if you think that's it. You're just fucking gone. You think they don't import attractive women from foreign countries so they can have sex with them? Use your fucking head. All right. The smooth over sweet talk, okay, is part of it. All these groups, criminals and otherwise, smooth things over and try to get people to conform to their cultures, which so they can ultimately put them beneath the white-collar criminal. They all deal in money, right? The old money white-collar criminal, obviously, the corporate politician, the wealthy criminal, obviously, the FBI, CIA, what do you think they get paid at bootlickers' pittance? No, the intelligence community rakes in the ropes, and they probably, a lot of them get paid under the table as well. And not to mention they can leverage their intelligence, what they've learned, to get more money. Local cops, social clubs, gang members, yes, they deal in money. Okay, yes, they're on the take, and sometimes they don't get paid in cash, they get paid in social clout. Okay, if you do something for somebody so you can get something out of it, right, it's a business transaction and not charity or something or good deed or something like that. All right, local gangs, just they deal in the money. All these groups, entertainment industry, the schools, right, school backwards is looks, right, you know, they get PhDs in how to be an evil corporate bitch, right. These groups deal in evil. Okay, they also deal in drugs, psychology, distraction, and misdirection, even if it's just promoting food that is unhealthy, that has substances in it. Okay, like sugars to make you unfocused. That's why they had the sugar cane plantation, because they were literally cultivating. They're cultivating plants, they're cultivating slaves, controlling their breeding, mixing certain attractive black women with certain white bloodlines and old money bloodlines to make them healthier and seem like they're superior to other white people, and so on and so forth. All right, so we also have they deal in distraction, misdirection. This also goes back to the connection, interaction, translation, communication, direction, reception, and timing. Okay? If a female is receptive to me at a time where I have no chance to, you know, she's on the road and she smiles at me, hi, and she drives by, obviously it's not the same thing, so timing. You know, and there's many applications of that idea I just gave you. Foundation. Foundation, continuation. This is key. It's the foundation of this criminal social order that deals in crimes against humanity, and they continue the ation. Okay, there's checks and balances to continue the ation. Then there's the word force and the permit. Let me go over permit first, and if I have time, I'll go over first. Permit. Okay, rape magic IT. The game is pretty much called magic. It is magically how it works. Magic spells, okay? Disneyland, you know, Tesla, you know, different, you know, science is a form of magic. It's all magic, beta, garbage. Betas is B scrambled. Okay, permit, okay? Poor magic IT. The T is the feminine suffix. It refers to people breeding toward the earth, elevating the attractive women while a bunch of hideous old geeks, you know, fucking, prey on them sexually. Okay, it is my trophy wife. Not my trophy self, but trophy wife. Okay, and it's also why the word class has C last, low class, right? How does your insignificant, unattractive peasant wife see things, right? This is what they're saying, okay? And, you know, you're with her, so you're low class. So one class marker is the trophy wife. It's right there in the word C last, okay? Also backwards, it's seal, remove the A and put an E, C. Okay? If you're low class, the idea is because you haven't opened yourself up to evil enough to climb the pyramid and to masterfully think like a criminal mastermind. Okay, so that's the word permit, 4C. Okay? 4CE. Okay? E core F, meaning fuck, I'm out of time. You should understand the idea by now.